Welcome back to Sound the Whistle with Tony Clark. In this episode, I want to continue the series I started a couple of weeks ago, talking about stalling. And once again, this is how I see it as a wrestling official, based on my knowledge of the rule book, the case book, and the case manual that you find in the back of your case book. So the stalling I want to concentrate on today is stalling in the ultimate tiebreaker. And I just want to read to you what the case manual says about stalling in the ultimate tiebreaker. Overtime is a unique situation. The ultimate tiebreaker occurs after the wrestlers have wrestled a regulation match, first three periods of the match, a 1 minute sudden victory, and a 2 30-second periods. The ultimate tiebreaker prevents a different format in that when the defensive wrestler scores, the match is concluded. This could be by an escape, reversal, or it could be through penalty points. If the offensive wrestler scores, the match is concluded. If the offensive wrestler controls the opponent for 30 seconds, the match is concluded, and the offensive wrestler will be declared the winner. So, basically, in a nutshell, what that's saying is, um, in the overtime, sudden victory, in the 2 30-second tiebreaker periods, stalling should be called just like you would have done in the regulation match, the first three periods. There's no change in how the officials should see stalling. The ultimate tiebreaker presents a different and unique situation because the bottom wrestler is still required to work to score in order to be declared the winner. The offensive wrestler is no longer required to work to score. And let me clarify that. They're not required to work for a near fall. They're not required to um, work for a fall. They are only required to control the defensive wrestler for 30 seconds. If they can control that defensive wrestler for 30 seconds, they will receive a right out point and will win the match. So again, the offensive wrestler in the ultimate tiebreaker is not required to score, only to control the opponent. That's where a lot of confusion comes in. What is controlled wrestling? And a lot of that is based on how your state interpreters see it. A lot of that is based on your experience level with calling stalling and how you perceive it. But we do, as officials, need to be able to make that adjustment in our mindset that that offensive wrestler in the ultimate tiebreaker is not required to score or required to get a fall to terminate the match or to win the match to be declared the winner. So, what we do here in our state is we give out a few examples of what we don't feel is controlled wrestling. We don't feel that down on the mat, dropping down to a leg or both legs and just holding on is really controlled wrestling. We see that as a blatant stalling violation. Defensive wrestler stands to their feet, and the offensive wrestler um, is just content to stay behind and follow them around the mat for 30 seconds. We here in the state of Illinois don't see that as controlled wrestling. We see that as a blatant stalling violation. Bottom wrestler stands to their feet and the offensive wrestler pushes them out of bounds. It's not a flee the mat because there was no intimate scoring situation there. We here in Illinois would see that as a blatant stalling violation because the offensive wrestler intentionally pushed the opponent out of bounds to prevent a score. And we would penalize all of these instances as stalling, either a warning or a penalty point, which would conclude the match. And again, it's a lot of officials probably find that as a tough call to make, based on something I said earlier in this series. A lot of people think that when the official makes that stall call, we are inserting ourselves into the match. We're deciding the winner. I don't see it that way. I see any stall call that I make as me as the official enforcing the rules as written. Um, the opponents, decide to use a stall tactic. And they're clearly the ones who are dictating the outcome of that match, because once a stall tactic is used, um, the official, the experienced official, the good official is always going to use their knowledge, and which influences their judgment on how to make that call based on, again, their interpretation of the federation rules. So I think I said this earlier. I'm an aggressive stall caller. I will, and I try to keep that consistent all the way through the match. Um, Here again, a lot of verbal communication can help in that 30-second ultimate tiebreaker to prevent you as the official from having to make that stall call. If you use, improve, um, work the score is kind of one-sided, because the only person that really has to work the score is the defensive wrestlers. So that's a kind of one-sided. So the words action, approve, um, are, to me, good words and good cues to give everybody a chance to continue to work from their various positions to decide who wins this match without the stall call um, penalty. A warning won't really decide the match, but the penalty itself from deciding the outcome. But if the stall is warranted and earned, um, the rule should be enforced, as we had talked and read other parts of this series on how this should be done. So, just real quick, wanted to throw that out there. So, there was an interpretation that was given years back that the first occurrence of stalling in the ultimate tiebreaker should be a quick stalemate, and not a stall warning or a stall penalty violation. We use that here in Illinois. We use that interpretation for quite a while. So no matter what the offensive wrestler did, dropped down to a leg, took the opponent out of bounds, in the rear standing position, not working for any type of mat return, we were calling that a quick stalemate. Year or two ago, the Federation Committee looked at that and could not find any rule support in the rule book to support that interpretation. So we have here um, changed that mindset, and we now call stalling as warranted, even in the ultimate tiebreaker. We call it, if you're using um, hold on tactics, or you're not, following the rules. With the caveat, we know you're not, the offensive wrestler's not required to work to score or work for a fall. Um, it's a judgment call, and as long as they're not dropping down and holding on to a leg, and or in the real standing position, just content to run around the mat with their opponent, or not purposely taking their opponent out of bounds. Um, we let them do the control wrestling pick. But anything that's a blatant stall call will be penalized accordingly. So again, this is just a judgment call, and my opinion and how I see it, and how the interpretation in our state has been given. And I welcome any comments that others may have. Look forward to the discussion. But again, this is, again, from my viewpoint on how stalling should be called based on my interpretation and my experience using the National Federation of High School Rules. Once again, thank you for tuning in, and be sure to subscribe so you get notifications as I move on to other topics, or as I continue the stall series. I do plan on talking about more stalling and analyzing some actual stalling clips as I go through. If you have topics that you would like to hear, again, leave a comment down below, and I'll see what I can come up with. Enjoy your day, uh, enjoy your summer, and once again, thank you for tuning in.